All right, and then I'll do some introductions and then I'll hand it over to the folks from Gale. So Carly wrote up a nice little introduction. Today, Sarah Tarpley from the Gale Academic Engagement Team. She'll be sharing some of the resources that her team has created, and they can answer questions about the following: recommendations for our A to Z list on lines, including important files for the Washington State resources, or import files, MARC records, guidance on setting up resources in your learning management system, so Canvas for us, setting up specific preferences within resources, answering questions about collection content and your current holdings, online workshops and trainings, front of class and/or on-site workshops and trainings, training tutorial videos, documentation, and live and on-demand webinars available on support.gale.com. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the folks from Gale.
Thank you so much for the introduction. My name is Sarah Tarpley, and I'm the Director of Academic Outreach and Engagement for Gale. So I'm specifically devoted to driving usage and awareness of your Gale resources in the higher ed segment. So I'm happy to be here today and kind of share a little bit of information with you. I had an early conversation with Carly and kind of shared with her a little bit about my team and the services that we provide to institutions like yours. And she thought it would be of benefit to sort of let you all know that these services exist. And so this is just a friendly discussion and a way to build awareness of how we at Gale can help you drive usage and engagement of your Gale resources. I will just pause to introduce real quickly a few of my colleagues who are on the line. I'll start with Hillary Fox. She is the Director of Consortia Sales for the West at Gale. And so, of course, Washington is one of her most beloved states. So Hillary is here as well. And then I wanted to introduce just briefly Carrie Welch. Carrie Welch is a member of my academic outreach and engagement team. She is a customer success manager with Gale. And so she is here to help support as well. So you may hear her name or her reference to her might chime in. So Carrie, hello. And then we have Tammy Burke as well, who is a trainer on the consortia side of the house as well. So there are a few of us here. I will give my colleagues a moment if there's anything that they wanted to kind of drive home at this point or introduce themselves further about. Feel free to unmic, I don't know, unmute. Those are the words, unmute. Yes, go ahead.
I just want to thank everybody for your support of the State Library program and of the Gale resources. I am really excited for this training today. Sarah is amazing. Sarah and Gary have a great handle on everything that's going. Our training team is just fantastic across the board. So thank you again for attending today. And if there's anything we can do, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Wonderful. All right. So I put a little ditty together, a little PowerPoint for you, and I'll go back and forth in the PowerPoint. I'll try not to overwhelm you with slides. And then of course, we'll leave some time for dialogue. If you do have questions as we go through things today, feel free to unmute and ask them out loud if you're comfortable with that. If you prefer to use the chat, I will do my best at navigating the chat dialogue as I speak and present. So feel free either way. As things come up, I'm more than happy to address them as they are top of mind. So you can drop them in the chat or unmute, as I said. So let me see here. Let's see. I am the world's worst sharer. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the sloppy share that I always do. And then I'm going to kick off into my PowerPoint presentation here. All right. So what I'm excited to speak to you all about today is really kind of an introduction to my team, the Academic Outreach and Engagement Services team, but also to bring you up to speed about like kind of two levels of support that you have. So I'll first start out, and the first kind of area of support that I did want to make you all aware of was this site here. It's support.gale.com/WSL. And that is actually a dedicated support where you can find some customized access URLs and product information, in particular for the Washington State Library resources. And then the other part of the conversation will be about the distinguished support that my group, the Academic Outreach and Engagement team, can deliver to you all on top of what you're seeing at support.gale.com. So it'll be kind of hopefully an exciting twofold conversation. I'm going to first introduce you to the support.gale.com Washington State Library site. So everyone should definitely have this URL jotted down, support.gale.com/WSL. So while I am here, I'm going to just toggle into the site and just briefly kind of walk through. So this is the site here. Again, I just typed in support.gale.com/WSL at the top. And from here, you can really browse for your location. So this is a great site if for any reason you need information about your Gale resources. Perhaps you never got around to putting all the access URLs up in your website, or perhaps you're changing things around and want to kind of augment and add to what you have on your library's website. So what you do is you would just kind of go through this list. You can start to type, you can start to type in things here and kind of spell out your name. You'd find your institution name, and then you'd click on go ahead and proceed. So you'd click that blue button. Once you do that, what's nice about that is that everything then will be kind of customized to your institution. So I did sort of log in here as Bates Technical College. So you can see in the top right-hand side of the screen that I'm logged in as this institution, and that all of now my product URLs, my direct access URLs, have the location ID for Bates Technical College embedded in them. So here in the mid portion of the screen, you have all of these customized URLs, and Bates apparently uses an easy proxy. So you can see that easy proxy detail is also embedded in the URL. So this is great. You can export these links very easily. So there's a green export button here, and this will give you kind of a mailable file. Sorry. I've got way too many things open. It'll give you a mailable file that sort of looks like this, and you can kind of just open this up, and it gives you, the product name, the link, and then a quick description. Usually these descriptions are super short. They may or may not be helpful to you. Sometimes academic institutions like to augment them. So this is just a quick down and dirty, like one-liner about what each of the resources is. So if you don't have your access URLs established, of course, this support website can provide you with all of those access URLs, and they are customized to your institution. You also have the same derivative for your ebooks. So when you pop into the second tab, ebooks, these are also ebooks that are provided by the state as well. And so you can have direct access URLs to these individual ebook titles if you so choose. You can add these individual title links to your library website as well. Some academic institutions like to add them to course guides, right? If you're teaching a gender and sexuality studies course, for example, perhaps you want to incorporate some of these direct access URLs to these gender titles that we see here. So these direct access URLs are great. You can add them to library website, but you could also add them to course guides or libguides, whatever it is that you may need. And so we're providing the direct access to those. Again, you have that exportable link here. The third tab in is training. And so this training tab is really kind of dedicated to providing you with ways that you can start increasing usage, one of which is by kind of learning a little bit more about the Gale products. This upcoming webinars area here, this is really kind of various sessions that are being hosted by the consortia training team so that you can get up to speed on specifics about your Washington State Library resources. So you do have all sorts of different topics available to you here. I will say that these webinars are for all all bodies of the Washington State Library, like so all, public libraries, K-12 institutions, academic institutions. So it'll be a mix of individuals for which you are, participating with. Down below here, you're going to see a variety of recorded webinars. Recorded webinars are great, in particularly if you're just looking to, in your spare time to refresh on something, or perhaps you don't have the time to kind of join into a live event at a scheduled time. You certainly can get into some of the recorded webinars. We also have the ability for you to limit to those that are academic in nature, so specific academic recorded webinars and tutorials that might exist. So for example, my team has created some of these, all of the academic content that you see here. We've got things on, tutorials on accessing Counter 5 usage. We've got tutorials for academic OneFile specifically for higher ed, general OneFile, global issues, and so on and so forth. So you'll see those tutorials and materials available to you, and you have a filter, again, that was all the way at the bottom. They're going to look to move it up towards the top, but there's a filter here where you can actually choose academic and then kind of get or hone into some of the tutorials that are really focused towards potentially academic needs. So those are available to you there. In terms of marketing materials, that's a fourth tab in here. I'll just kind of point this out to you briefly. You can view them by product. So if you're looking for banners or bookmarks or email templates or flyers, you have some social media posts, etc. These are all available to you as well to kind of drive usage and awareness of Gale products. So those marketing materials are there. Technical documents, I'll just go into kind of what this is here. We have one about Gale usage reporting. So it will take you out to a usage reporting overview. It will review what Gale standard usage reports are versus counter usage reports. And it'll kind of walk you through each one of the metrics that are specific to that particular page. Now, if you do need additional technical documents, that's hard to say. If you need additional technical documents, I will show you where you can find some of those that relate to discovery services and to learning management systems, things that are really kind of, in demand in terms of academic support. Further onto that, you do have VPAT. So if you're looking for accessibility documentation, we've organized that for you here as well. So you have some of the accessibility documentation here. And then the last button here is just a link, what appears to the Washington State Library link here. So it just kind of takes you out to that page. So that's a quick summary about what is on this Washington State Library support page, so that you have an idea of what's there. At any point, you can get out of this specific Washington State Library arrangement by using or navigating with these, with the blue banner here. And this will kind of augment and it will take you to additional materials. So I had mentioned under technical documents, you really only had one document surrounding usage. If you needed additional technical documents under tools, you'll find another link to technical documents here. And when you get to this page, you're going to have a lot more content at your fingertips. You can get to content if you're looking for materials about how to maximize your Gale resources in your discovery service of choice. You could choose discovery. And then here, if you're using Primo as an example, there's documentation here that kind of walks you through how to maximize the discovery of Gale content in Primo. So you have that kind of material in this kind of arrangement. You also have, this is also where the LMS content is available. So if you're using Canvas, we have really deep integration. Gale resources have really deep integration with Canvas, where you can actually create assignments with Gale product from directly within inside Canvas. And we provide a single sign-on solution with Canvas, also supporting Desire to Learn. And our integration with Blackboard's a little bit lighter, but most, I think, academic institutions are using Canvas and D2L at this point. But we support others as well, like Moodle, Schoology, et cetera. But you'll find all of that LMS documentation here. And again, the way that I got to it was I just navigated with the blue bar, and then I navigated to technical documents here. And then I was just using this material type filter to either, get to discovery information or learning management system information here. So I'll pause right there. Before I kind of get into some of the bespoke services that my team offers, I just wanted to see if there were any questions about the general tour of the support.gale.com/WSL site. Was any of this new to you all? Perhaps it's not new, but has been enriched somewhat for you. I just want to get any impressions about this site from the crowd. What did you think of that? Do you think this will be useful? And of course, I can't see any of you, so it probably doesn't help. Getting one chat. What if I don't see my institution in the list? Oh my goodness, Victoria. Victoria, if you want to just throw in the chat for me what your institution is and your email address. Oh, Pierce College, there you very good. You're like just in time. So just if you could associate your email address with this chat message too, that would be great. And then we'll get it all perfect. We'll get you all sorted out there. I have on occasion, it does happen where a particular institution is missing. So for sure, we'll take a look at it and I'll get back to you, Victoria, and we'll get you all sorted out there. Same issue. Okay. All right. Yeah. If anyone is missing from that site, do put it in the chat. I'll download the chat after today's session and we'll get you all sorted out. There's another group that kind of manages this this page, so I'll just loop them in with any of you that are missing. So aside from those that are missing, does this appear to be some good foundational information for you all? I hope, at least. Otherwise, I wasted 19 minutes of your time. I'll move on. Okay. All right. So I'll go ahead and just move forward a little bit and kind of share a little bit of the bespoke services that the Academic Outreach and Engagement team offers to you all. So this is a newly formed team. We are, well, we shouldn't say newly formed anymore. I mean, we're over a year old now, which is great. And many of us have many years. I have 20 years plus of Gale experience, and much of which has been devoted to higher ed. Every member of my team, I have a team of trainers and customer success managers. Each one of them has higher education experience. So we are laser focused on the needs within our community colleges, technical colleges, universities, colleges throughout North America. So our team focuses on providing training, promotional support, discovery, and usage driving services. So what do I mean by all of this? We have recently kind of hearkened into a project where we have developed a Gale A to Z list. So on our A to Z list, which is galelibguides.com/A to Z, you're going to see descriptions and product tutorials and sort of all sorts of assets that can be used to augment your A to Z. So if you do use SpringShare A to Z, you can partner with us, with the Academic Outreach and Engagement team, and we can create customized import files for you. So what that means is that behind the scenes, behind the A to Z list, many of you, and I don't mean to speak down to anyone, I'm sure many of you know this or are aware of this, but for those of you that maybe are not aware of SpringShare A to Z, behind the scenes in the back end, there's actually an import file template that you can use to upload in one fell swoop a large, group of databases or resources. So this is particularly helpful if you have not yet added a lot of the Gale resources to your library's website. This provides a point of avenue, a point of discovery, a point of avenue for discovery for your Gale resources. So if you feel like you have SpringShare A to Z and you would like a customized import file to just upload, we can help you out. We have instructions that kind of coincide with this. All you would do is need to reach out to my team. And again, at the end, I'll put up our email address. I'll put our email address in the chat box. But you would reach out to my team and just ask for a customized import file. And then what we would do is we would actually do an audit of your A to Z list, see what maybe was missing and or maybe, what might need some suggested correction. And then we would provide or design rather the CSV file, the template file for you with your location ID and access URLs and your grouping of Gale product. And then you can take that import file. Now, let's say we've organized on that import file, we've tagged things for different subjects or subjects that maybe don't exist on your A to Z. You can certainly change any element of the A to Z list import file to your liking. So if we call something, I don't know, history, and you want it to be called Western civilization or something like that, you certainly can make the changes before you upload or import the file to SpringShare A to Z. But it is a huge time saver for many individuals. We've gotten so much positive feedback about the import files, and our partners across North America are using them quite heavily now. So we do have this support available to you, and we can certainly kind of walk you through the utility of it, and we can create these bespoke for each one of you or whomever needs it. You just submit a request to our gale.academicoutreach@cengage.com email address, and I'll put that in the chat in a few. I'll pause there because it sounded like someone was coming off of mute and perhaps wanted to say something while I was speaking. Any questions about that? All right. Okay. The other thing that we've been diving into is we've been actually creating specific topical LibGuides on different subjects, different topics. And we intend these to be actually copied, and feel free if you see any of our LibGuides that you like, you can copy these. Feel free to do so, and then you can augment them. You can add them to your institution's branded template and so on and so forth. It's a way to promote usage of the Gale resources, and it's a great starting point. So the LibGuide on the right-hand side of the screen is the voice of democracy, tracing the right to vote from past to present. So this incorporates all sorts of database sample searches and things like opposing viewpoints and global issues and so on and so forth. So you'll have a wide variety of resources kind of tied into that. But it's a great, again, starting point. So you can copy, elements from these topic guides, subject and topic guides, and kind of, go your own way and keep moving forward in terms of designing along these subjects or topics of interest. We also work with customers to design specific guides for them. So what we would do is we would create, let's say, this is an example that we did for Georgia Highlands College. They have some Archives Unbound collections, but really, certainly you could do this around any product or topic. And what we've done here is really just kind of help them kind of dissect the types of content that they could find in Archives Unbound, from African American studies collections to different gender and women's studies collections and different cultural studies collections. And we've organized it for them. What then they did in turn is they copied this particular guide from us, and they incorporated it into their sort of branding SpringShare template. So the work was really done for them. All the URLs and access information were customized for Georgia Highlands, and then off they went. They just kind of incorporated it into their own SpringShare brand template. So it has their Georgia Highlands College look and feel. So if you need something like that done, we can also support you with custom guide design as well. And we also do a wide variety of faculty and course alignments. We can do these in LibGuide format, but I've also done them in Word document format, Excel format, really kind of whatever format you need to help drive usage and awareness of Gale resources. So we've done these for institutions like Illinois State University, Syracuse Universities, where we actually looked at faculty research and teaching areas. The library wanted a way to connect their investment in a Gale product called 19th Century Collections Online. They wanted to find more users in their faculty of the resource to drive usage of 19th Century Collections Online. So what we did is we actually kind of went through their faculty areas, departments, and kind of found notable faculty that researched in the 19th century, and then provided some relevant searches to the faculty members' research and teaching areas. And then same with Swarthmore College, they specifically had some Native Indigenous people's studies courses that they were designing. And so they wanted our assistance with kind of finding relevant Native Indigenous people's content. Not all of it is done in LibGuide format. As you can see here, we've done a lot of custom, material creation to drive usage and awareness in many different forms, whether it be PowerPoint or Word document form. We've provided it in a number of different ways. The research guide on the left-hand side of the screen that you see over in this area, this one was actually done for a course on, it was a graduate writing course on Black women birthing. And so what happened here with this request is that we had a librarian who was asked to teach, some instruction around how to use some of the Gale collections to support a writing project around Black women birthing. And there are a wide variety of topics held within the syllabus that they shared with me, basically midwifery, gynecological care of African-American women, and so on and so forth. So what we did is we took the elements of the syllabus that were shared from us and then found relevant Gale content in a variety of our products, and then helped, compile this research guide that then the librarian used as part of the instruction. Whether she shared it with the class or if she just utilized it for her own preparation, we're not certain of, but she said it was really, really helpful. And we've done similar alignments and creation of custom research guides for many institutions as well. So just know that custom material creation can take on many forms, and we're here to support you in that regard. My team also can help answer discovery services questions and support. I know that I am working with Carly, and we are actually going to be hosting another session in near future. I think it's coming up here in March, if I'm not mistaken, on discovery services, specifically about some of the challenges that you may be facing with regard to Alma Primo. So we'll have our discovery services product manager on the line for that conversation as well. And that'll be a great opportunity for you to hear kind of what we're doing in terms of working with Clarivate to kind of tidy up their knowledge base. They've done a lot in terms of ingesting of Gale content, but a lot of which has been scraped from our website, which necessarily isn't the best way, as it can kind of evoke all sorts of issues as it relates to some of our kind of unique databases that don't really kind of fit that KBART title list style. So like our in-context resources or our literature criticism, et cetera. So we're doing a lot of really great work in terms of tidying up, working with Clarivate to tidy up our knowledge base. So I know that that's been a pain point. So I'm really looking forward to that conversation with you all in March. And we can kind of share back and forth more of what's going on there. And I'll pause there because I did see, just something in the chat directly to me. Okay, no worries. So, so wanted to just kind of mention this. So I did show you on the support.gale.com page that this support exists for EBSCO. Most people are either, Primo or EDS. So whatever you are, we can support you either way. I've heard that most of you, the majority, obviously, of you are obviously, if you are in discovery, you are Alma Primo. So we can focus that conversation in March on that particular knowledge base, if you will. So I think you'll be excited to learn more of that. If you need that information from Carly, she has the details for the date and time of that event. And then my team also delivers a wide variety of webinars. So this is just kind of a time capsule through January of the webinars that we've delivered. A lot of these are, various topics. There are all sorts of things that we can deliver on a calendar. When we deliver these webinar topics, these are open to anyone who's interested in learning about these resources or who has access to these resources. So one of which that I thought was a really great one was the sneak peek at the all new Gale Business Insights. So for many of you, you're probably aware that the Business Insights product migrated to a new platform back in December. And so there is a great recorded webinar now that exists. So if you're interested in kind of reviewing any of these webinar topics, these are all archived and they're all posted on support.gale.com. And you would navigate to those using that blue bar that I showed you earlier. But you'll find lots of great recordings here on various topics that are focused on higher ed institutions and needs. We also did one on literature research and so on. So feel free to check those out. We deliver these a variety of topics, usually like 3 to 4 a month. If not more. And so it's a regular schedule. So I'll show you right now, kind of again, just a quick review. It's just on that general support site. So if you navigate to the using support.gale.com, and then if you navigate to the training center, you can see webinars here. And when you navigate here, you can see our upcoming webinars. So we actually have one coming up here in 2 days. My team is doing one on Gale eBooks supporting higher ed coursework. So that would be, of course, really helpful to you all because you have access to some of the Gale eBooks through Washington State Library and those resources. So you'll see, generally speaking, you'll be able to kind of see which ones are focused on academic here by filtering. We've just gone through our kind of last quarter of webinars, so we'll be adding some more pretty soon here. So check back soon. We're getting to the tail end of our, excuse me, of our quarterly listing. So in the next day or so, you'll see some more higher ed webinars added there. And then of course, all of those recorded webinars that I mentioned, like that Business Insights ones, you can navigate to them down below. Again, you can put that filter on, and then you can kind of get into these recorded webinars here. So here's that Business Insights webinar that I did. That's a really great one if you're looking to get an overview of the new experience. All right, and then I guess we'll kind of close out from here. So really, we are really offering you kind of a two-pronged approach. You obviously have the support.gale.com/Washington State Library support, but then you also have my team's support, which is the academic outreach and engagement team. So we can do all sorts of trainings. We can do virtual on-site trainings. We can help with that subject guide development, your A to Z list import files. We can do those course alignments, all of those things, including helping you with your LMS integration, getting the usage reports set up that you need for monthly delivery, really truly anything, content queries, content assistance. If you have questions about, hi, this student or this instructor came to me and they're looking for X type of content, you can send that to us. Our outreach and engagement team email address is here. So it's gale.academicOutreach@cengage.com. And this is truly just a clearinghouse. It'll get to myself and my team members, and we will be able to support you with whatever query it is that you have. So I'll throw this in here if I can spell it correctly. I'll throw this in the chat for you, and you can have that for you as a, oh, sorry. Silly me, I sent it to whoever last DM'd me, direct messaged me. So let me send it one more time here. All right, there you go. So you'll have that available to you as well. So I'll pause here and open it up for questions at this point. And also, if there's anything else that you have questions about, if you have questions about products or anything like that, I'm happy to, I'm kind of, I can dive into products as well and kind of give you a tour of the platform, whatever it is that you need. I'm here to help today. So wanted to first introduce you to myself and my team and our services, and to introduce you to all the support that you have available. And we can take this conversation now wherever you'd like. Any questions, anyone? You can't let me off this easy. You must have some questions.
Well, this was interesting. I didn't know we had access to some of this stuff. And I really wish that we had known about being able to import to our SpringShare A to Z lists back when the contract was, was first put in place. That would have saved a whole lot of time.
Yeah, that like I said, my team is like a little over a year old now, and it did take us a while to get that get set up, our A to Z list set up and with SpringShare. So it's really been available since the fall. So I think it was probably just one of those like, wrinkles in time where you're like, okay, the Washington State Library resources became available. My team probably wasn't even formed, which I don't think it was. My team was informed. And so like, it was just kind of all out of spades. But the good news is that, if you were to add additional Gale resources, we can still help you. So it doesn't have to be specific to, Washington State, resources, et cetera. We're here to help you. If you need a audit of your A to Z list, or if you want to add something, just know that exists in the future, because I'm with you. That could have definitely been a time saver and a huge help to many of you. Yeah.
Well, so one thing I'll mention that we've found kind of challenging at Seattle colleges is we know that the state contract includes access to some ebooks on, I think like the contract mentions there's a selection of ebooks on diversity, equity, inclusion topics, but then there's some other set. And we're having trouble when we go to the WSL page trying to figure out like what are the specific ebooks that we have access to that are like in these two little subtopics, as opposed to the ebooks, the Gale ebooks that we just bought ourselves.
Yeah. So we can kind of look at that a little bit here. So I think, potentially the way that things get organized in the pitch, if you will, or as Hillary is trying to articulate the value of our content, right? She's probably styling ebooks in a bespoke, a custom collection for you all that kind of speaks to diversity initiatives and so on and so forth. So she probably grouped them in a certain way, and then there's probably others that were more, I think, K-12 oriented, that were also probably grouped in another way. And you're right. I mean, when you look at this page here, what we're doing is we're serving up direct access URLs to sort of those individual titles, kind of breaking them out of their, custom collections that Hillary designed for the state, so that they can make their selection decision on the content. We can certainly help you sort that out. If you have ebooks that you've purchased at your own institution, we can work with you to identify which of the titles are from the state library, and kind of help you better understand. And then that way, if you want to organize them in a similar fashion to like the diversity collection that was provided through Washington State Library, we could certainly help you even on your ebook platform, create like a custom collection that would spotlight those as the diversity collection, whatever you wanted to name it. We could work with you, but like the diversity collection from WSL as an example.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Yeah. So definitely reach out to us at gale.academicoutreach@cengage.com. we'll work with you to kind of get that sorted out to your liking. And Hillary, is there anything you wanted to add in that regard to the ebooks, or is that a pretty good kind of
Yeah, that
basic?
was a great, there were 3 collections included, which were general reference. There were 12 titles that are DEI, like what we called a kind of a foundational collection that would go across sort of all age groups as well. And then there was a grouping of K through 5 titles designed for elementary programs, but then also teaching programs would have access to those if they wanted them. So, I think Sarah's group has given a great answer in terms of like they can help you create those custom collections.
I will be in touch.
Awesome. Awesome. What else? Any other questions? And really can be on any topic. This is your time with Gale. So if there's anything that I didn't cover that's been burning on your mind, feel free.
I'll also jump in to say that I'm really glad to hear that you folks have been working with Carly and with Clarivate, because right now the whole issue of the knowledge base being, with the data being so messed up is like at this point, speaking for Seattle colleges, trying to use the Gale products through the filter of Primo makes them almost unusable, because we're just the data in the knowledge base is so bad that we're getting links to articles that we shouldn't have access to, or that we don't, like, we're getting links to stuff that we don't actually have access to, that may not actually exist on the Gale site. It's been a huge frustration for our students, for our librarians, for those of us trying to handle the tech support. So I'm looking forward to one day having that cleaned up. But I'll let you know, like, we're on the point of just deactivating all of our Gale content within Primo, because we can't reliably link out to it.
Yeah.
And I assume that other folks have had that problem too.
Yeah, it was a huge thing that Carly put on my radar for sure. And it is something that we're working very closely with Clarivate on to straighten up. As I said, Clarivate ingests our content in a number of different ways. Even though we have like an FTP set up to send them direct files to our content, they still do a bit of web scraping of our support site to yield some of the content that they ingest in their knowledge base. And over time, as that has progressed, those title lists that they've been scraping are not, they weren't designed for ingestion into a knowledge base. They're not structured properly. And so, of course, that has created a huge amount of linking issues for our customers. So what we're doing right now, and I don't know, perhaps you can chime in and kind of from your perspective. I mean, the feedback that I know from our market is that it's not necessarily like the one file products, but it's more of when you get into the in context products, or some of the specialized products like the literature products and so on and so forth. Does that harken back to the experience that you have had as well? Or have you experienced it with the one file products too?
Definitely with the in context products, but we are experiencing it with the one file products.
Okay. And then you're filing the tickets too with Clarivate, correct?
We're generally trying to do both. We're trying to file both with Ex Libris, Clarivate, and with Gale when we run into this.
Okay, perfect. Yep. So what we'll do, I know in preparation for that session that we're having in March, we're culling through all of the tickets. So that's why I asked if you had been just filing the tickets somewhere. So we'll do a kind of survey of those tickets to see if we can offer any assistance in that regard. But for sure, within context, the problem within context is that there's oftentimes reference sources that are included within the in context products, and The in-context products, sometimes they take selective pieces of content from different reference sources. So it's kind of like a selectively indexed full text, chapter from X book or Y book kind of thing. And because Clarivate, we found out, was actually scraping these title lists off of our website, they weren't delineating between like what we had full text to and what we didn't have full text to. And so we're kind of working through and resolving this, and hopefully the knowledge base for in-context products should be rectified. It should be updated next month, because what we did is we rescoped all of the in-context title lists. And so when Clarivate goes to pick up or parse our title lists for March, I can't believe we're already in March, for March. So whenever they do that, they parse our title list for March, they should be getting the correct authentic title list that will kind of mitigate any of those bad links, if you will, to content for which we don't have the full source of. So that should help clear up. I don't presume to say that this will clear up every single issue that Gale is having in the Clarivate knowledge base, but it certainly should help a bit within context. So I'd be curious to see if you, I'd be curious to see if you all kind of notice anything, maybe March, April, March, April kind of thing, in terms of improvement within context. Either way, let us know. I mean, if it still is not working, then perhaps there's like other issues we need to look at. But we're definitely taking a look at all of the resources and kind of seeing what we can do to improve their contents in the knowledge base. So that's definitely something that is underway actively here at Gale. Right. Any other questions?
Hi, Sarah. I have a question for you.
Sure.
In the product list, there's a lot of one-file databases, and we have several in-context ones. I was wondering if you had a spreadsheet that gives a overlap analysis to see what the overlap is of the one-file databases that you have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I will tell you this. I'll just kind of, just for everyone's edification here. So our two major one-file collections are academic one-file and then general one-file. So academic one-file is going to be I always call it the mega file, the clearinghouse for your academic journals. So it's going to have, the bulk of Gale's academic journals are going to be an academic one-file. And then general one-file is going to be kind of that mega file or that clearinghouse for your general interest periodicals, things like Vanity Fair, stuff that you would pick up at the airport or perhaps subscribe to personally. So you're going to have those two are sort of mainstays. So I'm making a recommendation that each one of you should definitely have links to both academic one file and general one file on your library website, A to Z list, etc. And then further on to that, there is also some unique content in the general one file news product and the Informe Academico product. So I will say that those are probably the four that you definitely want to have on your library's A to Z list. So it's Informe Academico, as well as one file news, general one file, and academic one file. Now, these other one files that you are drawing our attention to, these are these are subject-based collections. So as example, this one file health and medicine. What this one file health and medicine is doing is it's culling contents on the topics of health, sciences, and medicine from both academic one file and general one file and putting them together in a subject specific collection so that your health sciences, medical students have a one file collection that's kind of dedicated to their discipline. So they don't have to suss through engineering journals and, physics journals and, teaching journals. They can just go into, their health and medicine type of content. So we do say that these can be, where you do have programs in, criminal justice or health and medicine or nursing. We do encourage you to also keep these links up on your A to Z list, because if you put it up under your A to Z list and you should name it health and medicine, parentheses, Gale 1 file. If you put it up under H or medicine or M for medicine, right, your students are more than likely to kind of walk into that resource than they would something generally called academic 1 file. So there is utility in having some of these 1 file collections, subject-based collections hosted on your library website. It gives you and your students kind of a path into kind of a more focused collection on or towards that discipline. So here's that criminal justice one as well that I mentioned earlier. So they can be helpful because they're a little bit less overwhelming to students who can find the type of content they need that kind of is designated according to their course of study or whatnot. So we do encourage you to have, if you have a program in culinary arts, if you have a program in criminal justice, right, we kind of encourage you to keep them up. Definitely don't put everything under G. Please don't. Even though our marketing team has spent, lots of money, rebranding us as Gale 1 file this, Gale 1 file that, please just put it under criminal justice. See criminal justice. You can specify Gale 1 file in parentheses after that. If everything's under G, you're never going to get the usage out of these resources. They really should be organized by the discipline that is kind of stated after the :1 file.
Great. Thanks a lot for that information, Sarah. Another question then, following what you just said. For the 4, so when we activate the collections in ALMA, should we just activate Gale Academic 1 file, Gale General 1 file, and Informe Academe along with news? And that should take care of all the rest of the subsets?
Well, so there is some unique content in some of the 1 file products. There's some unique reference content, like culinary arts and hospitality management have some unique reference content in it. It is fairly minimal, but you wouldn't have access to everything. So best practice would be to enable everything, right? But that's a lot of enabling. That's a lot of radio buttons to select. So I would suggest that, yes, I mean, you focus on the major hitters that I said, the academic 1 file, the general 1 file, Informe Academico, and 1 file news. And then I would suggest that if you do have like kind of higher enrollments in any of these sort of discipline specific items, that potentially you look at, maybe activating those as well. But for the most part, you're going to capture primarily everything by activating those 4 1 file resources.
Hey, I'm going to follow up with that. You mentioned that there are some subsets that have unique content, and you mentioned culinary arts and hospitality. What are the other when Gale contents or 1 file subsets that would have unique content?
There are bits of pretty much every one of them has a little bit of like, I'm talking like a few sources. I'm not talking an abundant amount of unique sources, but there are others. I can share with you a spreadsheet if that's of interest, but it does get a little gnarly to look at, but I certainly can follow up with you. That's you, Lily, speaking, correct?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
I'm just trying to like wrangle this together and seeing, what's the best way of presenting this in the website so that
I think it depends on how specific you want to be. Like if you want the 1 or 2 additional reference sources, let's say in the culinary arts collection, then you would have to enable that, obviously. But if you're okay with having the vast majority, I would say enable those 4 collections that I mentioned and you're good to go. It's just that, there will be maybe a couple, 2, 3 sources, et cetera, that that wouldn't be enabled if you didn't turn on culinary arts as example. So I can send you the specifics if you really want them on each subject. It's not a problem. Will you help me out though and just add your email to the chat for me, since I don't have a producer here on the line, and if you your name and your institution and your email, and then I'll get that off to you. I can send that to you.
I got
Okay,
it,
great.
Sarah. I'm watching you.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. All right. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, having 40 plus one file products and turned on in the Alma Primo system is a lot. Yeah. No, I hear you. All right. Great. Any other questions? I know we're coming up on our last couple of minutes here, and I know Hillary just had some parting words for all of us. Wanted to just check in with the crowd to see if there's anything else that you wanted to draw our attention to or discuss. Right. And remember, if you need a training, if you need help with anything whatsoever, you have that gale.academicoutreach@cengage.com email address, and we can kind of get you started with some, customized materials and things. If you want to suggest to Carly a specific training session on a specific thing for the consortia, happy to do that as well. I'm happy to work with you individually or as a consortia, whatever is easiest for you all. We are here definitely to be of service to you. I'm going to just put this information up here again, and I'll put my contact information in case anyone needs to find me. But other than that, I will thank you all for your time, and I'll turn it over to Hillary, who wants to say hello again.
I just want to thank you all again for attending. I would also say that you will recall that the Washington State Library database program is an opt-in. So if you have questions on your renewal pricing, on any additional on how you can get into the program, if you're on this webinar and you're not part of the program, you could reach out to Will Stavinja or Mike Bushman at the State Library, and they can get you pricing. They're the ones that set the pricing, and then they let Gale know, and we do the billing. So if you have any questions on, how you get organized or how you get into the program, you can reach out to Will or Mike. You are also feel free to, if you want to contact Sarah, she can contact me as well, and I can help facilitate that. But Will Stavinja and Mike Bushman have all of the information about participating in this program.
Great. Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you all for your time. I hope you found it valuable. And again, feel free to reach out if you need anything. And then we'll see you again, I believe, in March for our Discovery Services conversation. So looking forward to that and looking forward to spending some more time with you all.
Right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. Take care, all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm going to stop the recording and then I'll end the meeting.
And I just need a copy of the chat. Do you have it so that I can download it, or?